So we're live, Katlyn, we're live. I know
Woo!
I have to prepare people because we're always normally busy chatting beforehand. And then, all of it, whatever we're doing. And then it's like, okay, now we're live. So it's for the benefit of everybody else. And I've just had a look around your amazing center through the power of Zoom. So it was lovely. Thank you for showing me around. So I'm Dr. Kate Bartram-Brown, and as you will already know, viewers out there, that I've been doing interviews with amazing people and amazing people that I know. Now, I'm very fortunate in my, wide variety of people that I know across the world, that you all have a certain expertise or all bring something quite unique to the table, and I really wanted to honor that and show that in these interviews. And Katlyn is a friend of mine. I've known her for some years now, and she is a guide and healer in the mystery school. And just like you would have recognized throughout, guide and healers in mystery schools tend to be phenomenal at various other different things in their life. They do a lot in life. And Katlyn has worked with Mini-Me Yoga for quite some years and quite extensively. And since Mini-Me Yoga has gone on to do some very exciting projects. So I am so excited to talk to you about this today, and I was so excited when you said yes, that you would come on and do this interview, because I think it's very topical of what everybody is going through right now. Home education, education for children, picking the right education, all these different types of things going on. So we've got a lot to talk about, I know. So, Katlyn, would you mind giving us a brief background? I know I've done it, but I would love for you to just give give us a background about yourself.
Yes. So I've I think I've been working with families for over 15 years, and I started off my teaching career in Detroit, and then I've taught in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, in public schools, charter schools, um, therapeutic schools for boys, residential therapeutic schools for boys, and it's fascinating because right after I was teaching in Detroit, I started to find where my niche was, where I really started to care about like a specific aspect of education, and that was in supporting. Like how can I bring in support? So and that's when I found Mini-Me Yoga, which was just superb. And working with Mini-Me Yoga, I think it was about 5 years. um, yeah, and and it would be so beautiful to do workshops with parents and therapists and grandparents and teachers, and to see how simple the techniques were, and they brought such profound results. And I'm a results woman, so I'm like, give me the results and we're fine. um, so I continue to work in different types of school institutions, until I found my Waldorf masters, and that's when I started to transition out of Mini-Me Yoga and training women to take what I've been taking on. And it was and when I was in grad school, that's where I met Lucy, my co-founder of Wellspring Homeschooling. And on our breaks at grad school, we would be dreaming away. Oh, what would it be like to open up our own school? And and we and she lives in California, and I'm on the East Coast in the U.S. So so opening up a physical school was going to be a little difficult. And it's been fascinating throughout, circumstances came up with COVID coming up, right? And then it was like, okay, seeing how families were transitioning into distance learning, right in the spring. And Lucy was working with parents. She was teaching in a school, a public Waldorf school at the time, and helping parents transition. And so we both were, we were meditating on it and praying on it and going, okay, I think that there's a reason why, we're reconnecting and, creating something here. And, so then it, and I had some parents that were reaching out to me going, hey, can you help me? I'm really overwhelmed. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, what do you need? Whatever you need, let's craft that. And that's been the nature of this is like, we have a structure, but it's also, what do you need? We provide that one-on-one support.
So Katlyn, tell us. So we've got this, education system where children can go into a school and they can receive an education, and we know that all children learn differently. What are from your perspective, what are the benefits of homeschooling versus going to regular school?
Even when I was moving into this, I don't think that I had the benefits necessarily in mind. It was just like, this is a thing that needs to, like, how can we support for it to happen? But as I've watched over the last couple of weeks, oh my gosh. So the benefits that I've seen are, if we talk about social emotional development, first and foremost, right? That's our foundation point for us to be able to have stability, so like in our emotional lives. And for children, they're so sensitive. And Rudolf Steiner, the founder of Waldorf Education, he talks about how children are purely sense organs. So they're feeling everything and they take everything in. And so for them to be basically protected by their home and to be able to receive education through that protected space has been so beneficial for the children that we've been working with and for the families we've been working with, to be able to take that, that step and be held like that.
So you mentioned Steiner. Now, can you tell us a little bit about this? Because, most parents listening in here, well, certainly in the UK, we go into our education system that our government provides. And that is set. It's a set curriculum. It's a set amount of learning. And we're told that, okay, when you're 16, you're going to take the exams, which will then result in you being able to go to college, and then you'll be able to go to university. So it's very structured. So when we talk about Steiner and Waldorf, how does that differ? What would a child, have, experience-wise? What would be different?
Well, so the first thing that comes to my mind in the difference with Waldorf education is that so much is planted in art. And so, so children are working with their hands through handwork. So they're learning how to knit and crochet. And then they have watercolor painting. So they're able to work with the element of water and to be able to build a relationship with color and the color experience in their world. And they're molding and shaping clay or beeswax when they're in first grade. So they're using their hands with natural materials. So that's just one of the aspects that's different. And when I talk about Waldorf with people, often I'll say, okay, so when people start to look at alternative education, they look for, right, they think about, Montessori, Amelia Reggio, right, and then there's also Waldorf. When you walk into a Waldorf school, there's all natural elements. So there's no plastic seen throughout the entire school, which was mind-blowing for me, but it was something that I didn't even notice until I was like, where's a pen? I was like, where's a pen? And I was like, I guess I'll just use a pencil. Um, but there's a softness and a sweetness to having only the natural elements around children, because again, they, for them to be able to be interacting with natural elements as opposed to something that's highly processed and man-made reminds them of more of the spiritual world. So it keeps them again in like that layering of a cocoon.
Yeah, so this is really fascinating. So for parents out there that are looking for some kind of alternative education, they're already in that mindset, aren't they? They're already in that mindset that, okay, my child needs something else other than, what they're receiving right now. So, but to the parents out there that have no concept of perhaps what a different education might do for their child, what tend to be the results of a more holistic approach to education? What difference do we see in children and such like?
What I tell parents is we go slow to go fast. So in Waldorf, we'll bring in reading, but it's not not directly taught as like grammar or whatnot until about like third, fourth grade. So so they can expect that their child is going to be still surrounded by language. But what we're doing in those first early years is helping children to be in love with language, because languages comes from man, and so we're learning for them, or we're teaching them how to love what comes from man, and in a slow way. Now, when children come into high school and Waldorf education, the quality, for example, just in the artwork, it's like they should have their own gallery, because their artistic capacities have been developed so consistently throughout the years. And because of that, there's this more self-assuredness in their own personal expression, which is so key as they grow into adults. And I've seen studies of children who go through Waldorf education and they go into college, that they tend to score significantly higher on the tests to get into college.
Now, this is where it gets interesting for me, because I'm a great advocate for the arts. I believe that if we take away the arts for the children, then we take away their ability to be creative, for imagination. We know that scientists need to be creative, or else they can't think of all of these amazing experiments to do. We need people to be able to think that they can go to the moon, to Mars, we need that creativity. Now, what we have in the UK may not be the same in the US, is this limited thought process around the arts, and it's almost seen like it's a bit of a light subject, something that's not really needed, and we see that being cut back considerably. So it's interesting when you say that actually, because the artistic and creative influences are fostered in the children, then they're actually getting better results than to go to college, university it would be for us. That's fascinating. So do you think that through this maybe, I don't know if a softer approach is the right word, but maybe, like you said, more falling in love with education, that it helps children to expand their mind more and to be able to retain more information and such like, maybe be less stressed, more, and to get those results? Why do you think it is?
Yeah, I think that if we want our children to be able to reach higher level learning, right, to be able to have the critical thinking skills, right, then first and foremost they need to feel safe, right? And then from there, and those ways that we can help them feel safe is through right, the environment that we surround them in, and the types of things and how we bring them to. And, something that I've noticed as well with Waldorf education is how the teacher talks to the child. Because, for us, to feel safe enough to explore the higher level learning, right, there's, you need to be able to, again, feel safe with how we're exploring things, right? So the redirects in teaching are even much, they are done, but it's done much more in like a, like follow me and how I'm doing things. And then, and what I've noticed in watching other Waldorf teachers is it may not necessarily be like a no, like a harsh redirect, but it's more like a, let's try that again. And let's just keep going. And, and to see the children, because children as sense organs, they watch everything that we're doing as grown-ups. And so as Waldorf teachers, it's to be that example that children are watching. And so you are so conscientious of what you're doing and how you're doing it, because then the children will do it.
Absolutely. And we've just, it's so interesting how this topic keeps coming up again and again. And it's something, as you know, that we do in Mini Me Yoga is that we don't worry about being able to share instructions with the children, because they should just be following us. We should be doing, they should be following us. And I think, it's a really great reminder that in life, at home, or wherever you are as a grown-up, if you are leading a certain life or doing things in a certain way, it is 9 times out of 10 your child is going to follow those exact those exact methods, not what you actually say that they should do, but actually they're going to see what you do. And this is where the interesting part comes in, because a lot of the time as grown-ups, we don't always realize we're doing it. We're not conscious that we're saying these harsh words, or we're not conscious that we are rushing around the house, frantically trying to find the keys, or, whatever it is. And we're not taking a few deep breaths just to relax, and then looking around and finding the keys, all of these different things that we'd want our children to do, but we often don't realize. So when we see children doing and acting in a certain way, it's often a mirror that's coming up, which is really fascinating. Not all the time, but maybe some of the time, a lot of the time. Yeah. It's really nice that it's like, we're all the mums out there are like, oh, and the dads out there. I know.
Yeah. We coach our our families, on a wide variety of things too, but it's to be aware of, how things are. And even in coaching them, it's been, it's been sweet for them to hold the reflection, but also to not jump on the shame and guilt train, right? Because like mom guilt is a thing, and it's like, it's awful, and it's like, we don't need to be having that though. So it's like, to separate that and to be able to say, okay, so objectively, here's where I can, where I can shift, and then, okay, great. And I'll do different next time. Right?
Yeah. I'm really glad you said that, because, when, nobody's pointing the finger, nobody's perfect. And, to all of the teachers out there, and, all of us, as parents, we have bad days, we have good days, and there's no getting it right, whatever that is, 100% of the time. It's all a learning, it's all a journey, it's all a path. And that's so interesting, because, I know you obviously through the mystery school, and you are a guide and a healer in the mystery school. And so what do you feel the importance of a parent or a teacher actually walking a path of self-healing? Does that actually matter? And does it actually have any effect on the children or their families?
It has like the effect. It is like the effect, hands down. So from my work with the mystery school, it's been profound to watch how families have shifted, including my own, over the last 6 years that I've been in the mystery school. And because of the power of the lineage, it works on a DNA level, and to see those shifts, as subtle or great as they are, is it's changing whole dynamics. And it's something that Rudolf Steiner impressed upon the parents and his teachers, that they take up teaching as a spiritual practice in a way, and in studying anthroposophy and studying theosophy, because from that you're approaching the the oneness of the world, and how to introduce children who just came from the spiritual realm, how to introduce them softly into the physical, and then help them to be successful in mastering the physical elements throughout their life.
I love that. I mean, that's such a beautiful way to describe, teaching, and how we can approach teaching. And I love the fact that, because, I was talking about this the other day, that we have teachers that have 30 little people in front of them. Well, in the UK anyway, maybe 25, 30.
I have 35 in front of me in Detroit. So
yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, and they're going through all of their thoughts, all their feelings. They've got different things going on. Maybe they're not feeling great that day. I mean, we've got all of that going on in the classroom. Yeah. And then you, as a grown-up, are the captain of the ship. You're steering the ship. It's all looking at you. So if you haven't taken on that process of self-healing or taking care of yourself, how are you going to take care of the 30 little ones in the room? And, it's a big responsibility. And I always say to teachers, they just, should get paid a lot more money. And I'm a big lover of all teachers, because, they do a phenomenal job. And, this self-care isn't being selfish, but they do need to put themselves first, I feel, and really fill their cup up so that they can share that with the little ones. And I love that Steiner does that. So going back now then to, we've had COVID, we're still in the midst of it, and we've had a lot of children at home being homeschooled, and so now the parents have taken on the role of the teacher as well as the parent. Can you give us some top tips, maybe 3 top tips, on how parents can take care of themselves, be the teacher, be the parent, and make it all work? Is there a magic wand, Katlyn?
I think gosh, don't we all? We all want magic wands. So a couple of magic wands, I would say, for for parents who are at home with their children. First of all, is to create a rhythm in your day. Not necessarily, and I think that Lucy and I might write a blog on this for the Mini Me Yoga readers, to just get down into the nitty-gritty of rhythm and how that's different from routine, how it's a little bit different from a schedule, but it's a rhythm. So in that, so that's the first one, would be rhythm. The second one would be balance. So for there to be balance in your day. There's too much of this, right? Like focusing inward work, that would make anybody spin out. Let's be honest. We all need to be able to, go and flit as you want, and then we need to, and then be able to come back and settle in. So 2 is balance. Now, and then the third one, I would say, is approaching everything, and this is very similar to Mini Me Yoga, approaching everything with fun. Yes, because having fun and exploring the world with wonder and fascination and awe meets children right where they're at, because that's where they're at too. And so for us as grown-ups to be able to be that guide for children throughout their lives is going to make them continue to feel safe, so that they can continue to expand in their own curiosities in life.
Yeah, well, you won me over with the third one. As you know, it's all about fun for me. So because if you're not having fun when you're learning, really, you don't take it in. It doesn't, it's not a joyous thing. And you know, if you're having fun, you really want to explore things at a deeper level. You want to continue, you know, so and I believe that everything can be made fun. Everything, you know, that we do as you know, in a learning environment can be done in a fun way. So, so we've got a lot of parents now at home who've decided the to take on the responsibility of being the teacher. And um, what what systems do they have available to them? What are their choices? Do they have to follow some kind of curriculum, or how does homeschooling work in a practical sense?
So for homeschooling, if it's not like distance or remote learning attached to their school, then for homeschooling, they have, it's like the world is truly their oyster. And for Lucy and I, we strive to have we're bringing Waldorf methodology and bringing it in alignment also with the state standards. Because our families, some of them are like, yep, we're definitely going to keep our children out. And some are like, well, maybe eventually we'll put them back in, right? So we're like, okay, great. So we want the children to be able to do whatever they want to do. So there's plenty of curriculums out there. One that I've recommended for our families is called Oak Meadow, and it's a Waldorf curriculum that's aligned with state standards in the U.S. And it's been accredited by high-level accrediting institution, the New England College and Universities Association. But there's so many different curriculums that they can choose, and that it depends on, first and foremost, the choice of if you want to pull your child out permanently, or if you want to have them be, eventually brought back into school. So that'll depend on, one, what type of curriculum we choose, and then two, looking into what, at least in the US, we have like each state differs with what type of assessments they require. So looking into what your state's, homeschooling laws are, and what evaluations they require. So
if we have parents out there that are not still sure, so you would be able to provide maybe some consultation, and I know we're going to have a part two, because there's lots more questions that I want to ask you. Maybe we can get some questions from people that watch and are in the Mini Me Yoga group and such like, because and we can get some actual questions maybe to you and Lucy, if Lucy wants to join us. That would be great.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. We could do that. I think that would be really good. Maybe we could do that in the next week or so. But essentially, your service is, and your guidance and your expertise is helping parents transition from mainstream school into home ed and then continuing on.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And we do free consultations, and and then our process, what our goal is it's an I do, like I as in Lucy and I, we do, us and the parents, you do model, so that we're helping the parents to learn how to be able to take this on. So it's like they're taking it on in pieces and parts to help to curb the overwhelm. And then, our goal is for them to be able to, take it on their own. And, and if they continue to need our support and guidance, we're here. Or if they, if they're like, we're great, then we're like, good, our job is done.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. We could actually say it's a bit like Mary Poppins in a way, because, maybe we have like Jane and Michael writing, and then you'll turn up with your, umbrella and everything ship shape in the house. That's
right.
maybe the British or the English analogy of what you do.
Yeah.
Modern day Mary Poppins service, which would be amazing.
I love that. I love that.
Love that. So may I pop in? We're coming to an end now, but may I pop in your details and your website in the comments for people so that they can get in touch with you? And then if I could invite you and Lucy back for questions, and we'll make sure that we get some questions from maybe parents and teachers, and teachers as well, that would like some, maybe are struggling with some points. Would that be okay?
We'd love to do that. That sounds great. Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you so much, Katlyn, for coming on today. And are there any parting words that you would like to share with the audience?
For all of the parents, whether your children are at home with you or if you're having them return back to school, just look at the next step and just keep breathing deep. That's all. You got this.
Yeah. Thank you. I know that's going to help a lot of people right now. Thank you so much, Katlyn. And I'm going to pop all those details in the comment box. Lots of love. And then I'll let everybody know when we arrange to do part 2 in the next few weeks.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Lots of love.